Exploring the lost city of Tikal last time provided a glimpse into the mysterious world of the ancient Maya, who flourished throughout the jungles of Central America for thousands of years. On this episode, I'm taking you with me to southwestern Guatemala to explore Lake Atitlan, a natural wonder and home to the world's greatest concentration of indigenous Maya people. And later, we crank up the heat to about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I trek to the top of Volcan de Pacaya to explore the flowing lava fields on one of the world's most active volcanoes. My name is Keith Newberg. I'm an explorer, and I live for adventure. I grew up dreaming of exploring distant lands. Now, not only do I get to live out those fantasies, I get to take you along for the ride. Let's just say I'm on a non-stop adventure quest. My latest journey of discovery has led me here to the wilds of Central America, a land where the road ahead is paved with endless mystery and mind-blowing wonders.
Exploration leads to discovery as American explorer Keith Newberg chronicles his epic journey through distant lands and exotic places, immersing himself in foreign cultures while exploring a fantasy land of lost worlds. And wild adventure.
Welcome to Lago de Atitlan, a place where its title lives up to its beautiful surroundings. The word Atitlan is taken from the Mayan language, which means the place where the rainbow gets its colors. Gotta tell you, this is one of those places where you just want to keep stopping and staring. Lush, gorgeous, inspiring. Landscape so breathtaking, English novelist Aldous Huxley once described Atitlan as the most beautiful lake in the world. 85,000 years ago, a cataclysmic volcanic eruption created this massive volcanic crater, a deep caldera that eventually filled with water to produce this natural wonder. To figure out how this picturesque lake grew into such a masterpiece, we have to go back about 12 million years. That's the date scientists mark as Lake Atitlan's birthday, so to speak. Since that time, this site has seen at least 4 episodes of volcanic growth and collapse. The last one about 1.8 million years ago. This evolution has carved out a seriously deep history, literally and physically. This lake goes way down, checking in at about 330 meters deep. That makes Atitlan the deepest lake in all of Central America. Surrounding it, 3 towering volcanoes. On the southern rim lies the volcano Atitlan. Inside the caldera, you see San Pedro and Toliman. San Pedro is the oldest of the 3, and it's believed it stopped erupting about 40,000 years ago. The present-day caldera Lake Atitlan calls home was the result of a gigantic eruption, an explosion so intense, legend says it blasted rock and ash halfway around the world. This cataclysmic birth eventually produced a rugged, asymmetrical-shaped lake. For the record, Atitlan is 12 miles long and nearly 8 miles across. Surrounding the lake are 13 small villages, many of which are home to direct descendants of the ancient Maya. This is truly a special place. The shores of this pristine lake allow me to not only witness a rare natural phenomenon, but I also get to fully immerse myself in the purest form of rich Mayan culture. This area is home to the world's greatest concentration of indigenous Maya. It's the only place on Earth possible to get an unfiltered and authentic glimpse into their existence.
Guatemala, it's a very interesting country because you have totally different things to see in the same country. In the north, you have Tikal, which is the Mayan civilization, the old Mayan civilization, of which the actual Mayan are descendant. Nobody knows exactly why they left the north of the country, if it was by an epidemic or a flooding or something like that, nobody knows exactly. But the fact is that Tikal was abandoned before the conquest of the Spaniards, and now the indigenous are concentrated here where we are more or less in the Altiplano.
2 villages providing the most authentic display of traditional Mayan culture are Santiago and San Antonio. Doesn't take long for me to figure out the best way to get around to these remote villages is like this. I partner up with my man Walter for a smooth, scenic boat ride. 45 minutes later, we pull up to the traditional Mayan village of San Antonio. San Antonio!
San Antonio Palopo.
Palopo.
It's always important to remember the last name because there are 15, 20 different San Antonios. So you need to specify the complete name.
So we're at San Antonio Palopo.
Yes. Do you remember what did I tell you was Palopo?
What's Palopo?
It's a tree, a special tree that,
It's a tree.
like the gummy tree,
Yeah?
the one rubber tree.
It's a rubber tree.
Yes. So the architecture here is very unique. You can find this kind of walls. We made it with bamboo canes, and also this one, the name is Baareke. It's a mud with the bamboos, and the other one is just clay, like adobe, you know?
Right.
And if you see, in the adobe, they have a lot of grass.
There is
It's a kind of straw.
Right.
So when these walls moves, because we have a lot of earthquakes daily, it doesn't break up. It's very authentic.
This town is very authentic.
Yes. Even the people, the way that they dress, and you can see the children, they are very proud to wear their clothing.
Today, ancient traditions help provide an earnest living for the Mayan women, who use their talented hands to create woven blankets, tapestries, and beautiful crafts to be sold at the village market.
Olga is gonna show us the traditional male textile. So for example, this was the male textile for 40 years. And this one, it was a kind of skirt. They use it.
It's very warm.
Yeah.
Beautiful material.
Yeah?
So this is the traditional dress.
Yes.
This is top quality stuff.
So
This is
we changed this.
Yeah.
Sit here.
Me?
She wants to make something in your hair.
Oh, okay.
The locals, they don't have caps, and there's a lot of sun.
This is good. This hat applies in cool weather.
Yeah.
What did she say?
They say that you look like baby.
Walking the streets of San Antonio, I feel as though I've been transported back to a time when this culture ruled the region. Now I'm still working to perfect the English language, so of course my head was spinning, trying to figure out what everybody's saying around here. My brain gets an even bigger cramp when I'm told the Maya have no less than 29 different dialects, 12 of them spoken right here along these shores. Moving on to other traditional villages around Lake Atitlan, Walter and I head back across the lake by boat. Santiago sits on an inlet on the southwest shore, and as we approach this traditional village, it's obvious the lake still plays a major role in everyday life here. For centuries, the Mayans have used these waters for a long list of chores. That still includes the women washing clothes and bathing their children. For the men, like their forefathers, fishing the waters allows them to feed and sustain their families. Their fishing boats are also used to transport crops back into the villages. These are the boats of the local fishermen, and as you can see, they're called kayuku. Basically, they've taken a tree, cut it in half, and added some boards. They're beautiful boats.
Okay, one of the local transportation, which is
Tuk-tuk?
yes. So the people here belongs to a special ethnia from Maya culture. That the name is Sutuhil.
Sutuhil.
So they speak actually this Sutuhil language. This is one of the villages where most of even the women and men wears their traditional textile. And it's very special, very romantic, you know. The woman makes for her these things with flowers and birds, and makes for its men the short with a lot of birds.
And this is beautiful embroidery.
This is related to the Mayan calendar, and we can actually see here different gods, the Quetzal, the temple. There are Mayan things that we can't avoid in their culture.
The Maya, like many other ancient cultures, viewed volcanoes and earthquakes as the workings of the gods. They believed when a volcano erupted or an earthquake shook up the region, it was a message from the gods. According to the ancient Maya, what were the gods communicating when there was a volcano or an earthquake? Stick around. We'll be back a little later to see how you did. Okay, we've established I don't speak Mayan. But on the upside, I still got a little game, which hopefully, while hanging with the local kids, will do the talking for me. As a former professional athlete, it's a thrill for me to see how sports can work as a common thread here. More than just exercise and competition, basketball allows people from very different cultures to communicate, connect, and have a great time. Now, I see promise from a few players here, but it's clear this culture is extremely insulated. In fact, basketball is one of the rare recognizable influences from the outside world. Backing up that point, there wasn't a single road built into these villages until 1980. Before that, the only way to get here was through the wild, on foot or by boat. Thousands of years of isolation has allowed the Maya to stay close to their roots and maintain many of their ancient traditions. Back in the 1960s, however, hippies from the US and other countries discovered the solitude and laid-back lifestyle in beautiful Panajachel, a tiny Mayan village across the lake from Santiago. The chill attitude and approach to life here was in direct contrast to the conservative atmosphere back home. As a result of this hippie invasion, locals nicknamed the town Gringo Tenango. Translation, the place of gringos. That nickname has stuck and is still used today. To go along with these hot volcanoes and cool waters, this land offers up the ultimate natural high: paragliding. Panajachel's seaside cliffs, more than 1,000 feet in the sky, makes this Central America's premier spot for paragliding. The chance to literally soar with the eagles while floating above this amazing lake, eye to eye with the surrounding volcanoes. It's no wonder gliding experts from all over the world flock here to experience this one-of-a-kind thrill. Looking down the shores of Lake Atitlan, you'll see more than half the valley is made up of the San Buenaventura Nature Reserve. The reserve consists of more than 250 acres of native forest. The perfect spot to set up camp before jumping into my next adventure. And lucky me, the reserve has a brand new canopy tour. If you've never tried zip lines, it's an instant shot of adrenaline. Here's how they work. A pulley is suspended on a cable. That cable is mounted and set on an incline. From here, you just let gravity take over. Canopy tours like this are a killer way to explore the jungle. They provide a unique bird's-eye perspective of the local environment.
Did you get some butterflies on the long one?
This is Alberto Gutierrez, the director and mastermind behind this nature reserve. In addition to saving this land from development, Alberto created the reserve to educate locals on the area's history while stressing the importance of conservation.
This is actually a beehive of the Mayan bees. These are called meliteas. These bees will bite you, but they don't have stings. They simply bite. And this is where the Mayans used to get, and still get, their honey. It's a different kind of honey. This, where we are right now, this path here was part of an old trail that was used up until the early 1920s. And it was a horse trail that used to connect Panajachel with the town of Sololá. Actually connected Antigua, Guatemala, the old capital, with Quetzaltenango, the second largest city in the country. And it was abandoned in the 1920s, and then I had heard of it, and I started to find out where it was, and I have it traced, and I will eventually rescue the whole trail. There goes the manager, and he's checking the trees. All of the monkeys that we have here are monkeys that were at one point or another pets. And usually the problem is that when people get wildlife pets, when they mature sexually, they become aggressive and they become a pest. They actually can be dangerous.
They're wild animals.
Exactly.
They'll always be wild animals.
Exactly.
Wild animals that enjoy $1 million view of this amazing natural wonder.
This lake is actually a caldera, a very large crater that was created only 85,000 years ago. And it was the result of a gigantic volcanic explosion that lasted maybe 3-4 weeks. And in that time, it expelled some 120 to 150 square kilometers of material. And the material covered all the way from Costa Rica, San Jose, to Oaxaca in Mexico.
Wow.
Ashes fell in Florida, ashes fell in Panama, ashes fell in Asia. So
From right here.
Right here.
Right here.
This very place. Of course, it vaporized life in Guatemala. Everything gone. These gigantic clouds of superheated air would just move about and fry everything on its way. So before that, this mountain, this side of the hill, is actually the side of the previous caldera that is only 9 million years old. So 85,000 years is a baby, 9 million years was the adult.
Earlier in the Explore quiz, we asked, according to ancient Mayan culture, what were the gods communicating to the Maya when a volcano erupted or an earthquake rocked the region? If you answered C, the gods were angry, nice work, you're correct. The ancient Maya viewed their gods as having the same emotions as human beings, and when the gods were angry, they expressed their anger by shaking the earth with a powerful earthquake or a furious volcanic eruption. Lake Atitlan is at the northern tip of the Pacific Ring of Fire, a massive volcanic range that spans 24,000 miles.
The immense pressure and friction created by shifting tectonic plates beneath this region have produced a chain of more than 30 volcanoes within the Guatemalan borders.
This chain of gaseous mountains is unparalleled anywhere else on Earth. 75% of the world's volcanoes are located right here along the Pacific Ring of Fire. As you can imagine, this hotbed of volcanic activity has attracted the world's top scientists who come here to study and interpret the volcanoes. They're in the business of trying to predict when and where the next eruption will take place. I have traveled south to Guatemala City to meet with Mr. Eddie Sanchez, the director of the Guatemala Institute of Seismology and Meteorology.
Guatemala has 33 volcanoes. There are 4 active volcanoes, which is Pacaya, Fuego, Santiaguito, and Tacana, close to the Mexican border. You can see that today has been so quiet, but here we can see some movement caused by the wind. When the volcano is erupting, the activity comes so strong, it covers maybe at this side. But you can see this is a mark of time. Seems like this is a cake cut in half. Right. But here is another volcano, which was the first part of the volcano, and then moving the crater to the south.
All this volcanic talk had me hungry for more. So I headed further south to quench my thirst for knowledge. That's where I find Jorge Garcia from the Guatemala Institute of Seismology. Jorge is what you call a volcanologist. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but no relation to Mr. Spock. He's a volcano expert and the man I enlist to take me to the top of Volcan de Pacaya, a rare chance to explore one of the world's most active volcanoes. At the base of Pacaya sits the small Guatemalan village of San Francisco, which also serves as the trailhead to the volcano.
He's strong?
Strong.
Strong?
Grande? The horse muy bueno.
Muy bueno, sí, sí.
It's a long, steep climb to the rim of Pacaya, so Jorge and I will travel by horseback. Still earning its stripes, Pacaya is a relatively young volcano, erupting for the first time only 23,000 years ago. Jorge enlightens me to a few key facts. Since the Spanish conquest of Guatemala in the 16th century, this volcano has erupted 23 separate times. The large concentration of volcanic activity in the area has had a major impact on the people and cultures in the region. To the ancient Maya, when the ground shook or the volcanoes erupted, it was the gods communicating with mankind. They believed nature's awesome power was a bold display of the gods' infinite might. After a 2-hour trek up the steep, rugged slope, we arrive at the edge of the Pacaya crater. It's an awesome sight to witness an active volcano, while the earth bubbles and rumbles beneath your feet. And as the sulfur and other gases permeate the atmosphere, even your sense of taste and smell remind you that this is a volatile environment, where Mother Nature is calling the shots.
En este momento estamos viendo el río de lava que sale del volcán de Pacaya, de la parte norte, que viene bajando y que es lo que le ha dado origen al relleno de toda este gran depósito. Este río de lava se activó el 10 de abril del año 2006. Este volcán es muy explosivo, tira grandes cantidades de lava, genera 6 peligros importantes. El primero es la erupción. Cuando un volcán de este tipo hace erupción, tira rocas muy grandes. La roca más grande que hemos encontrado es de 2 kilómetros, de 2 metros, 2 metros cúbicos. O sea, ese volcán puede tirar una roca así de grande, caer aquí, precisamente. Mucha fuerza. Ese es uno de los peligros. El otro peligro son los ríos de lava. Los ríos de lava es todo esto que vemos acá, que comenzó en abril del 2006, comenzó a salir la lava. Y de abril del 2006 a esta fecha es muy poco tiempo para todo lo que ha rellenado. O sea, tiene una gran cantidad de producción de lava. Y esa lava, conforme vaya caminando, puede llegar a otras poblaciones, como la San Francisco de Sales, donde dejamos los carros. El tercer peligro de esto es lo que se llaman nubes ardientes. Las nubes ardientes son grandes cantidades de polvo espeso y ceniza a alta temperatura, más o menos 500-700 grados, que bajan a velocidades de casi 150 a 180 kilómetros por hora y que vienen y matan a todos.
Jorge explains that Pacaya is a complex volcano, meaning it has multiple features such as calderas, ash cones, and eruptive vents.
Pero lo interesante de este volcán es su tipo de explosión. Es un volcán llamado estratovolcán del tipo estromboliano que se caracteriza por erupciones grandes, con grandes cantidades de lava como esta, y su erupción sostenida puede alcanzar hasta 5 kilómetros de altura, hasta allá. En la última erupción, que fue en el año 2000, alcanzó 2,5 kilómetros de altura durante casi 6 horas, así sostenido. Eso lo convierte en un volcán más o menos explosivo, con mucha lava, pero que arroja mucho gas al ambiente. En algunos casos. Esta lava es un poco engañosa, debido a que la costra de arriba se solidifica, pero mira abajo, muy cerca, es caliente. Entonces, un consejo que se le puede dar a los turistas es que vengan solo con guías y caminen despacio, porque puede colapsar. Por ejemplo, esto antes era recto y de repente, si tú vienes caminando arriba y colapsa, tú mueres inmediatamente o pierdes parte de la pierna. Hay casos donde la gente ha dejado de oír el pie y cuando lo saca ya no tiene pie, porque es como que metieras en aceite a 700 grados.
Jorge warns me that navigating this terrain is a bit tricky. While the crust on top looks solid, it can be extremely thin. Not a good thing with boiling hot magma right below the surface.
Mira.
This is really unstable here. You can see it's cracked. You have to really be careful when you're walking
out here on the lava fields. This could cut loose at any time. It's very fragile, and this is really, really hot. Try to create some fire here for you. It's already starting to cool. Woo, that's hot. But it's already starting to cool. This flows down here. It'll create new pockets along this flow. It's already starting to cool. No question, the Pacaya volcano is an awe-inspiring demonstration of our planet's internal forces, eternally at work deep below the surface. Scientists agree on the fact that Pacaya is a real-life, ticking landmine. My journey validated just how powerful volcanoes really are. Not to mention, we're never quite sure when one's going to blow. Pacaya, one of the world's most active volcanoes, constantly relays important messages sent to us from the natural forces churning far beneath our feet. Maybe the ancient Maya weren't so far from the truth.
For more information on the expedition, visit amxhd.info.